will start this Agora in English, and we have the pleasure to accueillir Professor Edersdal and my colleague Dr. Creusot from Belgium, and you are from Copenhagen, Denmark. So the question is how it's possible to overcome the epidermal barrier today, and Professor Edersdal is really, I would say, the specialist in the domain today, and you are using this strategy in different treatments that you use. So perhaps I will start with you.
Yeah. And
can you just comment about all this story, who becomes 6-7 years ago?
Yeah. You know, we started in a collaboration between University of Copenhagen and Harvard Medical School with Rox Anderson at Wilman Center for Photomedicine to see if we could do something good for our patients with new techniques to overcome the skin barrier. And the reason why we started on that is we do know that when we apply topical drugs, topical substances on the skin, only about 1 to 5% at max is absorbed in the skin. And we know as dermatologists that sometimes we need something more powerful. We need to empower our treatments. So we started in this research area 2009, and I must say it's been kind of an adventure to take it from the lab into benefit for patients where we are today and where you really are the expert and can contribute in this field.
So you started to use this strategy, I would say, from curette sandpaper to fractional laser.
Yes.
How? When? Sorry.
2 years ago. And it's very interesting because we can see we can enhance our practice with best results.
Yeah.
So when I compare my activity, my clinical response 12 years ago and now, I'm very happy to use your trials and your experience because, for example, for a big CBC, when you treat by BDT, in the past I needed more sessions than now. I reduce the time.
So you make it easier for the patients to go through.
But what can I say? If at the beginning when I used a fractional laser, it was very painful.
Yeah.
So now when I use a low density, it's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think do you want me to kind of frame it in?
Yes.
Yeah. When we started out in the lab, we did animal studies, and from these animal studies we learned that you don't have to drill many holes in order to boost up the concentration in the skin. When we started out, we thought, oh, do we need many holes to get the drugs in? But what we learned over the last years is that we don't need many holes, just a few of them. We call it 5% coverage is plenty to get doubled up the concentration of specific drugs in the skin. Yeah.
May at this point make a comment.
Yeah.
Probably for you and for the people who perhaps will look at this video.
Yeah.
Because the risk is a confusion between fractional laser with PDT and fractional laser to improve penetration of other drugs. Because if I can comment, with PDT, it's more complex than only delivery. And I have a question. You said we increased the penetration, but did you have data on ALA or methyl ALA concentration in the tissue, or only data on PP9 fluorescence, which is at the end the end product, and this end product is related, perhaps in a very large part, to the metabolism?
Yeah. So what we did, we looked at MEL from the very beginning because, you know, when we are talking about photodynamic therapy, this is a 3-step procedure. First, you apply a photosensitizer on the skin, and there are different photosensitizers out there. Then this photosensitizer acts as a prodrug, and it is converted to protoporphyrin 9, which is the real target for PDT, as you mentioned. And then you shine light on the skin to have the photochemical reaction. And when we started out with MAL, because that's where our experience is most expanded, and where we have the best clinical experience. And what we learned in terms of the penetration of the prodrug, and looking ultimately at the PP9 concentration being the target for PDT, is what we looked at. So for PDT, which is a field where today there is the most solid, most substantial evidence for drug delivery, what has been looked at is the ultimate target, the PP9. So you are absolutely right. We did not measure the prodrug to get into the skin. We measured the outcome of applying the prodrug. But we do have experience from other drugs, not only for PDT. And one of the things we have been looking at is, for example, on other anti-cancerous agents. We have looked at ingenomeputate, and we have looked at 5-fluorouracil, which are approved drugs for premalignant lesions. And in order to trace or in order to detect these drugs, you need other techniques. And here we used mass spectrometry and HPLC to quantify the drug concentration in the skin.
Layer by layer.
Layer by layer, from the top surface into the depth of the skin. And if we put all these things together, put the story together, whatever kind of techniques is used, whatever it is, HPLC or mass spec or fluorescence microscopy, all of them show that 5% density loads up the concentration of the different drugs from top to deep layers of the skin. So today what I'm saying is there is no doubt if we zap the skin with a fractional laser, you don't have to use high energy density. You don't have to use high densities, and with that you can boost up the concentrations of different drugs in the skin. But I mean, taking the topic of laser-assisted drug delivery from a stage where we today know that we can enhance the concentrations in the skin, this is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is that we can take this knowledge into a benefit for our patients. And for that, I mean, it's not a yes or no question, because we do know we can empower the treatments, but the real question is, how do we do it in a safe way?
At the end, it's a complete new view of the epidermal pharmacokinetics.
Yeah.
Because the barrier is absent, or permeable, really permeable. And it's even more complex than this, because you have the reservoir effect. And also, and after that I have a question for you, coming back to the PDT. Probably, I don't know if it's already the case, but the drugs that we use for injection are not probably delivered in the right way for this new way of penetration. So there is an excipient strategy and research that had to be made.
There are many
and it's
more.
The beginning of the story.
Yes, there are many more things for us to learn. And if I should make it short or kind of put it in a nutshell, I would say that with this technique, what we do know today is that the combination of fractional lasers and photosensitizers, where MAL has been mostly examined, but also ALA, there is no doubt that we can empower our treatments.
This is your experience. But one question, during the treatment, two questions. Did you control the level of fluorescence before you do your treatment? There is different simple strategy to do this, so to see the fluorescence.
No, I don't do that in my medical center.
And an information that you can get related, I think, to the fluorescence and to the concentration of PP9 is the pain.
Yes.
So is it more painful when you have done the amplification with the CO2 laser or not?
It's more painful, but not only with a CO2 fractional laser. When you use sandpaper, it's more painful too. So,
and try to control your fluorescence. It's extremely easy. We can discuss this after.
Yes.
But you will really improve the knowledge about your treatment in 10 seconds. But you need a room without light. And my question is, sandpaper, how you do it? Because Professor Hedersdahl gave us a very interesting comment about the different strategy of breaking the barrier. And what is your feeling between sandpaper and the fraction that you use?
it depends where I work. In my medical center, from hospital, I don't have fractional laser. So I don't have choice and I use sandpaper. In my private practice, I have one. So it depends where I work. But even if I use sandpaper, I amplify my response. And I have good results, but it's painful.
I think all of us who are working in the PDT field do agree that we need kind of preparation before, skin preparation, before we apply the photosensitizer. And what we are looking into now is that there are many different ways of doing that. And we just from the PhD group in Copenhagen, a work that was performed by a PhD student, Christiane Bay, she just wrote up a publication where she compared different physical techniques to break the barrier. She compared curettage to microneedling to microdermabrasion with sandpaper to ablative fractional lasers and non-ablative fractional lasers under very standardized settings, meaning that the number of holes were similar, the depth to which the interventions were drilled with the ablative lasers and microneedles were the same, and the number of passes, 1, 2, 3, and so on. We did the best to standardize the comparison. And under these very standardized conditions, we found that, without any doubt, the ablative fractional laser has the largest potential to boost the skin. The PP9 formation was far the highest, and it was delivered in a more homogeneous way, whereas with the other interventions it was more speckled uptake. But that being said, that was an experimental trial on normal skin to do the basic comparisons. So still there is a way for us to take it from these standardized settings into a clinical benefit for the patients. Mm-hmm. And what I have learned from the clinical work at the hospital back home in Copenhagen is that patients are different. And I really believe in a concept which I call personalized PDT. And this concept of personalized PDT is that PDT is not just PDT. We can twig around with the preparation techniques where it may be a different treatment approach if you have a patient with in the décolleté, the fragile décolleté area, with just a few thin actinic keratoses. That is a total different situation from, let's say, a scalp with the thick skin and many thick actinic keratoses. So I think what we are to learn over the next years is how to take advantage of these different preparation techniques in different conditions. But one of the things we also learned is that we can combine these techniques with daylight-mediated PDT. So that is, again, coming back to the PDT process as a 3-step procedure. Start off with the preparation techniques, that's what we are discussing now. Having a formation of PP9, but then we can also, in order to come up with a personalized PDT concept, we can also deliver the light in different ways. And here I think we have one important take-home message, which is you can actually use these preparation techniques in combination with daylight and still have an empowered or enhanced
Best results, yes.
efficacy, and at the same time taking advantage of the low pain procedure with daylight
The daylight.
PDT. So the PDT field is great, and also in the drug delivery field, it's really great. But there's many more things for us to learn to come up with personalized treatment concepts for different groups of patients.
Just one word about
Yes.
drug delivery. When we have keloid scars and we use fractional laser and topical steroids, I find in my practice that we have best results if you use needle, injected corticoid by needle, because it's more homogeneous.
So you homogenize the distribution
Yes,
of the
yes,
drugs.
Yes.
So do you mean that when you inject it, it's better than?
No.
No,
No. What did you mean? I didn't get
With
it.
laser, and when you put your steroid, it's better. It's
Than
more-
the needle.
Yes.
Than the needle.
Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
You don't
Definitely.
find some small parts of atrophy, or it's very, very better.
I absolutely agree. I think that's one of the main strengths with the ablative fractional technique, that we can control it in the way we are delivering the drugs, whatever
Yes.
drug it is.
And that's perhaps, we make it clear for the person who will hear the video. There is, for me, really two fields. The PDT
Yeah.
with a fractional laser, which is overall a more complex process, or a little bit different complex process than drug delivery
Yes. Yep.
with fractioned.
But basically it's the same. But different drugs, and then you have the photoconversion.
I continue
as well.
to think, but perhaps I'm wrong, but we have done a lot of research on the subject.
Yeah.
That when you do fractional laser for PDT, so with ELA or methyl ELA, you increase the penetration, you have a small reservoir effect, but you have a very high metabolic induction.
Yeah.
So cells produce more PP9 related to the trauma, if you want, and to the inflammation.
Yeah.
And we have data on
That's interesting.
we can discuss
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, if you put steroids, rapamycin or other things,
Whatever.
it's different. But I think that the industry has a lot of research to do with this, because for me the pharmacokinetics had to be different in the term of excipients, the way you deliver this drug and so on and so on.
Sure.
So today we are really rough in the way
Yeah.
we put the different products after the
Sure.
CO2 fraction.
Yeah.
You agree with this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.